The Bad Boys podcast is brought to you by Iconic Motor House, the guys making your motoring fantasies a reality. Visit iconicmotorhouse.com. Today on the show, Google Maps foils a mafia fugitive.
Joe Biden is back sniffing again.
Cheese and bacon balls are back on the menu.
And the Bunnings Bikini Challenge goes onto our shit list.
All this and more on today's Bad Boys podcast.
If you want the hard-hitting journalism of Four Corners, the reliable current affairs of, well, a current affair, and the planning that goes into classy shows like The Project, then you've tuned into the wrong podcast. It's comedy, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and news stories that makes Fox News sound like an episode of The Muppets. Or maybe it's the other way around. Conversations no one wants to have, but everyone wants to hear. This is the Bad Boys Podcast. Welcome to the Bad Boys Podcast. And look, we know we've had a bit of a breakthrough in a massive case that's been going for 20 years, Andrew.
20 years, as long as that.
As long as that. We're going to talk about that because it was foiled not by the police, not by the mafia. It was foiled by Google Maps.
The online Google Maps.
Online Google Maps. Hey, now, so
how does that work? So what's going on?
Well, apparently there was an Italian mafia fugitive escaped from jail 20 years ago, and he ended up in Spain. Now,
right, okay, that's where you go.
That's where you go.
No extradition treaties there. Yep,
exactly. So he decided to just, open up a little grocery store. He's just here. He is just in a little town of Galapagar, I think you call it, north of Madrid.
Right.
And he's got his grocery store, and he's out the front having a bit of a chat to someone, as you do, Next minute, the Google car goes past.
Oh, with the street view.
The street view. Obviously didn't think anything of it because, he sees a Google on the side of the car, off it goes. And, so he's living his quiet life in Spain. He's an ex-mafia guy. He's a mafia henchman. He obviously knows a lot. His name is Giaci Gamino, however you pronounce it. He was convicted of murder, right? So he's a pretty rough dude. He's a pretty full-on dude. He's decided that, he's going to hang up his shingle and start a grocery store.
Not a bad cover, really. Who would have thought mafia would go into food? Who
would have thought? 20 years after he escapes from prison, knock on the door by the detectives who have discovered him on Google Maps. And the thing that gave him away was a scar on his face. Now, I don't know about you, but it must have been a pretty big fucking scar.
Yowzers, that's crazy, isn't it? And of course, he's standing right out at the front. What are the odds of the Google car driving past right at the point when he's standing out at the front?
Well, but we've heard about this. We've heard stories about this, right?
Yeah, but often people organise it so that they are standing out the front, with a horse head on or, doing some crazy stuff and everything like that because they know the car's coming past, because they want to be immortalised in the, once every 5-year drive-by for most cities?
Yeah, exactly. So they do this on purpose. But then there's also people that aren't aware that it's going by and their car just happens to be in front of, say, their mistress's place at the wrong time, right?
Yeah, that's called karma.
That's called karma. Well, I don't know. How do you feel about this guy? I mean, he's a pretty rough dude.
Yeah, look, I'm going to be really nice and positive about the guy because, of course, the last thing I need is a price on my head. Look, if the guy's moved on and he's reinvented himself and he's found a new life and he's living in a new place and stuff like that, really, Look, I'm all for bad guys getting caught and all that sort of stuff, but I'm also all for, people having a second chance. And, the guy's selling fruit and veg, for crying out loud. Good on him. I reckon he's turned over a new leaf. How unlucky would you have to be? Seriously.
Well, he was saying when he got arrested on December 17, and he was completely baffled when he was arrested. He turned to his captors and said, "I haven't even phoned my family for the last 10 years. How did you find me?" And then it all came out that they found him using images on Google Maps.
Wow. You know what? It probably was his wife that actually found him and was so pissed because he hadn't called in for 10 years and stuff like that. Maybe she called the authorities.
Like, how unlucky do you have to be? Seriously.
That's nuts.
That is nuts, isn't it? Apparently, you can't hide from anyone anymore. Yeah, it just makes you also wonder too, though, like, is Google Maps sort of becoming the new spyware that's out there?
Well, this is interesting because, of course, the NSA gave a lot of money to Pokemon to create the Pokemon app, right. Pokemon Go.
Oh, yeah.
And it was later found out that it was the NSA was behind it because what they wanted to do is effectively they wanted millions of everyday people to get footage of cities in other countries and stuff like that. It was an ops tool to try and get
out of here
real life data.
So what you're saying is that they were as kids were searching for their Pokemon, all that information was going back to the NSA.
All of that camera-based information. So of course you're running around with your camera on your phone, and it sort of puts a Pokemon over the view of the background. Mm-hmm. So it looks like through your phone that there's a Pokemon in front of you, you capture it and all that sort of stuff. Not just children as well. Adults were doing it en masse. Millions and millions and millions of them all over the world in every country. And some countries, in fact, have banned it, and other countries have banned it from certain sensitive institutions.
Fair dinkum.
Because all of that information was going back, and China was furious.
What, China? Because China didn't have a Pokemon? They had
some cheap knockoff.
I was going to say, no.
Maybe Pokemon or something like that.
I was going to come up with some Chinese name there, but I thought, no, we've got enough problems with diplomatic relationships with China. We don't need me insulting them. So, we hear about we see these movies with spyware, like, where they can actually pinpoint where you are just because of a satellite that's up in the sky. Like, is Google Maps just another spyware satellite? I mean, did they get involved in the creation of it?
Look, I don't think so. I mean, absolutely, Google are in bed with the NSA and all the other government operators, and there's a thing called the Patriot Act, which means that any data that they actually produce, they must hand over to the American government. It's legislation over there. But I think because the photos aren't real time, they're not done regularly enough, I don't think. Now, and the American government has their own photographic satellites and all that sort of stuff that can read a newspaper from space. So, really, I just think that this time it was just really unfortunate.
Because that's what they do. They use that to read newspapers,
Well, it saves them having to pay for them because they can't afford it because they're spending too much time on dodgy stuff.
That's it. I don't know. Have you ever seen that show Homeland? The TV series?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, seen it all.
There was one
Claire Danes and the other fella.
There was one episode where there was a guy that went into a big, massive room in a nondescript building that was owned by the government, and in this room, it was just completely filled with people operating fake Facebook accounts.
Yeah, what did they call it? Basically, it was all the disinformation center.
A disinformation center, yeah.
And they've been doing that stuff for over a decade now.
Fascinating
in
stuff.
In a big way.
Yeah, fascinating.
All governments do it. It's a propaganda tool.
Yeah. I think Joe Rogan actually did an episode on it as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. And plus, look, China really wrote the book on that sort of stuff. America are a little bit behind the eight ball on that. China and the Russians were well ahead of the mark.
Fair dinkum. Oh, my God.
No doubt.
Now, we have a new sponsor on Bad Boys, and thanks for coming on board, guys. This is Man Up Down Under. Make sure you check out their website, manupdownunder.com.au. Now, we all know how much we love a good woman who takes care of herself, right? But us guys,
Absolutely.
let's be honest, right? Us guys are freaking hopeless. Correct?
Yep. Absolutely we are.
There's nothing more disappointing when, you know, your wife or your girlfriend's put in all the groundwork and, you know, when you get to that busy end of the evening and then suddenly you're standing there in your baggy, stained, stinky, poor performing duds, right?
Yeah, that's right. You know what I got to say? I reckon, boys, it's time to man up down under. It's time for us to put on the right fitting, high-performing underwear that treats your junk like a king while it treats her like a queen.
Yeah. So where do we go to get it?
You go to manupdownunder.com.au and look, you know what? I reckon the Queen should get on this one as well. I think they should get onto manupdownunder.com.au so that they can go and buy a week's supply for their man, because I got to say, these things not only feel good, they look fabulous. May even make me look like a bit of a king.
Maybe. You might need a shave.
I need all the help I can get.
A bit of a manscaping or, you know, whatever.
Oh, no, manscaping has never been an issue for me because the question is how often does it get done? Look, you know what? I reckon it's time to man up down under. Go to manupdownunder.com.au and grab yourself a week's supply. And remember, because they breathe so well, they really make your junk smell great. So much so, I reckon even Joe Biden's going to want to have a bit of a little sniff.
Hang on a sec. Where did that come from?
Oh, come on. Don't tell me you haven't heard about Joe Biden and his strange sniffing little fetish thing that he does.
Sniffing Joe Biden? No, what's
sniffing Joe Biden? Sniffing Joe. You got to Google it, man. Like seriously, you got to Google it. Sniffing Joe Biden. He before he was made president, there's videos of him everywhere, and there are always photo opportunities. You know, standing in the White House or, you know, in the room with the American flag in the background, and they've got, you know, he's got the parents there, a family there wanting to get a photo opportunity. And for some reason, he can't help himself. He's always got to grab, usually the little girls. It's creepy as fuck. I've got to say, I'm sorry. It really is. And he sniffs the top of their heads.
What the?
Sniffs their hair.
I'm looking at photos here now. They're like seriously, if you just Google that, you know, don't know what the government's going to think when they see me Googling sniffing Joe Biden. But anyway, I'll probably go on some sort of list there.
It's not going to disrupt your algorithm.
Wow, that is really creepy. And he's
they got compilation videos of it as well. And it's really awkward because the little girls are really uncomfortable as well. And he was well known for it. In fact, Donald Trump used to comment about it in some of his big presidential presentations that he used to do in the big stadiums all over Republican states. He used to go to town on it, and it was a well-known fact. And I don't think he's not doing it anymore. I think they've just basically told him, mate, you just can't do this in public.
just don't go
Maybe
near.
He's been talking to ScoMo's wife.
Wow, that's really like here we are with a prime minister who doesn't even know what day of week it is. And then we've got a president who just has a bit of a sniffing problem. Like, what
He's
the
got a
hell?
big sniffing problem, and it's creepy, creepy, creepy.
Hey, now, something else that's creepy. There was a story about a guy that was accused, and I think he's been convicted now. This guy that was accused of cannibalism. He was charged with eating the genitals of his Grindr date. This happened apparently. The guy went missing on Christmas Day. Now, this is nothing to be taken lightly, but apparently this guy, Mark Latunsky, was charged with eating his Grindr's date's genitals.
Right,
now,
okay, so Grindr's like a gay Tinder, isn't it?
Yes, exactly, you know.
Right.
And I'm
so
sure
this
there's...
guy has organised a date.
He's organised a date. I'm pretty sure there's lots of genital eating that happens on these dates anyway, but not to this extreme.
Right. Yes, no actual eating. Maybe, yes. Who knows? Not my scene
A bit of
personally,
licking.
but each to their own.
But the weird part is that this guy, his name was, wait for it, Kevin Bacon.
Right. Not the Kevin.
Not the Kevin Bacon. Not the Kevin Bacon.
Right, but
Now,
his name, he's just like his birth name was Kevin
yes, yes. It is horrific. He was found hanging up by his ankles naked, right?
Bacon. Okay.
Which is just freaky as. And apparently the bits that were cut off were the genitals.
So did the guy die?
Yeah, he died. It was terrible. It was like horrible stuff. But they're thinking that it may have been a fetish or something that happened to start with, and then it just went too
It
far.
was consensual. Hard to find out now, isn't it? Hey, I wonder if the guy who did the cutting and the eating, I wonder if he had cheese with that.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because everybody loves cheese and bacon balls.
Oh no.
We should be putting them back on the menu.
You went there. I was hoping you wouldn't.
Come on, you didn't expect me not to, surely.
Well, look, you know what? it just opens up a lot of questions. Like, how safe is it to go on a Grindr or a Tinder date these days?
Yeah, look, you hear some pretty creepy stuff coming out of Tinder as well. And look, I'm not a dating app guy. I'm a happily married guy, but I did hear locally on the New South Wales South Coast in the last couple of years, there was a particular case where a kind of middle-aged male real estate agent from Canberra was found murdered in bushland near Browley Beach. And it was all over the press, so there's no special background information going on here that's not been made public. Anyway, it was, I think, two teenagers, two 17-year-old boys and a 19-year-old boy. So one of them had organised for this guy to meet up with him through Grindr. And when they arrived, I don't know the details. I don't know what happened, but it all went south fast. And it appears, certainly on the surface level, that it may have been a gay hate crime. They may have done it deliberately to set him up and to murder him because the guy was gay.
Yeah, that's shocking. That is shocking. But not just Grindr, but even on Tinder too. You know, there's a guy on the Gold Coast that threw the woman over the balcony. I mean, like it's not even safe to go on a date anymore. Yeah,
look, you'd have to have some pretty good awares to you, I think, dating through apps in the modern world. Look, honestly, it makes me really feel scared for modern women.
Yeah.
It
makes me feel
to be
scared
having
for
to deal
anyone.
with all of that, because that stuff would creep me out.
Yeah, and then throw Omicron into the mix. Look out. You're going to have a wild old time.
Well, again, you know, without being able to dance and sing and drink vertically and stuff like that, I think there's going to be a lot of, as it turns out, very sober and very signal ugly people around town.
That's right. The main thing is you just got to be careful. Just be careful when you go out there dating these days. And, you know, if someone says, hey, can I hang you upside down by your ankles? Just say no.
Yeah. There was actually this interesting thing. I remember reading some time ago, a guy made a business out of shitty Tinder dates. And what he did, he was once sitting at a pub. He was just sitting at a random pub, and he noticed this couple was on their first Tinder date. And he was noticing all of these red flags coming up about the other guy. Now, most people probably think, oh, maybe he was a bit jealous, maybe he wanted to hook up with the woman himself, blah, blah, blah. But it was nothing like that at all. This guy, the male Tinder date, got up to go to the toilet.
Mm.
And while he was at the toilet, the guy who was observing them slipped a piece of paper to the woman. I think she went to the bar to get another drink, and he slipped a piece of paper to her just saying red flags, red flags. Anyway, at the time she said she hadn't really noticed the red flags, but as soon as he had mentioned to them, they all became really, really apparent, and she bailed at the end of the day. Anyway, she eventually found the guy again, thanked him, blah, 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 and he actually makes a business that women can actually have this guy shadow them on their Tinder dates.
Really?
You know, those first meet and greet Tinder dates and stuff like that, to look out for red flags on their behalf.
It's like taking your dad to to your date with you.
Yeah, a little less awkward perhaps. Particularly if you're Britney Spears, for instance.
He's not sitting at the table with them, right? He's not going, okay, I'll just adjudicate this and make some notes.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's that obvious. I think he kind of sits in a little bit in the background and stuff and sort of catches them at the bar when the girl goes up to get drinks. And
does he go back to the house with them? It's like, okay, you're not doing it right. A little bit more to the left.
Performance or something like that. Sorry, mate, you're a 6. You're a 6 performing as a 4, mate. Just put it away and go home.
That's it. Oh no! Well, there you go. So maybe that's what a great business to set up in 2022.
Right. Well, I've got to say there is another good business that is setting up, and they're on board with the bad boys as well. And that's Iconic Motor House. What a great bunch of guys! What a great idea!
Have you ever won something like through a raffle or anything like that?
I won a stereo once when I was like 10, like a boombox.
Yeah, I think I won a new set of clothes from some brand name or something, and I wore them to death.
Salvos or something?
Yes, Salvos. Yeah, Salvos clothes.
You know what? I would love to win one of these cars that these guys are giving away.
Yeah. So how do they actually do it? They customize the cars themselves, right?
Yeah, I think they're a custom shop. So they've got eons of experience and so forth customizing cars. This particular one that they're raffling off at the moment is an R8 Club Sport. Now, Club Sports in themselves, like all the HSVs, are rare as hen's teeth now because 2 reasons. They stopped making them a while ago when Holden left the building, so to speak. But also most idiots have probably wrapped them around trees by now.
Yeah.
But these guys have got a beautifully full custom interior, a black R8 Club Stop bag suspension, modified engine. This thing is mint, and they're raffling it off, and you can buy raffle tickets for it. But that's not all. When you buy tickets for it, you also get all of these benefits and everything.
Yeah, for 4,500 brands around Australia. Fantastic. Yeah,
access to discounts and unique deals and special offers and all that sort of stuff, and they're everyday brands too. So it's not like you can't use them. It's not like one of these restaurant books that are so obscure that you never actually go through and use them.
Yeah. Now you want me to say, you've scripted this and you want me to say that you'll have all your friends wanting to do some serious Main Streeting with you. Really?
Yeah, look, we're not Main Streeting type of guys. When I was in my my early 20s, perhaps, but back then it was pretty sad. I was either in a Holder Barina or a old Honda Civic.
Get the old
bad
Honda
end
Civic,
of Honda Civic, not the powerful end of Honda Civic. So, Main Streeting. Now, I'd probably do a bit of Main Streeting in my new BMW M6, but I think if they look at the car and they got interested, I think the girls would then look at the driver and sort of run the other way.
Yeah. Hey, I watched Fast and the Furious 9 last night.
Yeah.
They're up to number 9. Yes, that's right. And I've got to say, that is the most unrealistic movie that I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
5, 6, 7, and 8 weren't.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I know you don't look at movies and go, well, that's not very realistic, especially like James Bond or whatever. But it happens, right? Like you look at it, you look at this, and they do actually do street racing and that, but definitely not the way that these guys in the movie do it. That was just
right.
Yeah, full on.
But look, these guys, Iconic Motor House, they are the real deal. This R8 Club Sport will probably beat anything off the line. If you're into cars, or even if you've just got some crazy car fantasies, Bryce and Kurt at Iconic Motor House are making those motoring fantasies a reality. So you've got to go to iconicmotorhouse.com. That's HAUS, iconicmotorhouse.com, and buy yourself a subscription. Get one of their deals and stuff like that, and start taking advantage of all of the fabulous opportunities that come from it.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, guys. Thanks for supporting us. Now, each episode this year, we're going to be doing a shit list, and this episode's shit list goes to the Bunnings Bikini Challenge. Now, have you heard about this, Andrew?
Yeah, look, I have, which is a sad indictment on my reality in itself. But I don't get the challenges, right? Like most of the challenges are really stupid. Like, in fact, by definition, I think for it to be a challenge, it's got to be ridiculously stupid.
You see some stupid ones, but this one here was kind of unusual. She decided, it was a Melbourne lady, she decided to go into Bunnings and strip down to her bikini and then do a dance to Land Down Under by Men at Work. Now,
right.
I've got a few problems with that. I mean, like, seriously, if you're going to do a sexy dance in a bikini, why would you choose Land Down Under? Seriously.
Well, I think she's just getting into the whole Australiana thing. Bunnings being a very Australian thing. She's obviously a very healthy and very beautiful Australian girl, and so she wanted a nice Australian song. The big thing I've got about this is this modern reality perception that is going around that if you can mime the words to someone else's song for 7 seconds while moving your arms and legs around like some sort of pinata getting smashed by a child, this perception that that's some kind of talent, like I don't get it. Look, each to their own. If a good-looking woman, or any woman for that matter, wants to get in a bikini and strut around in Bunnings and stuff like that and make an object of herself, look, that's her business. Who am I to judge? I'm not going to be stupid enough in any way to tell a woman what she can and cannot wear in public.
Well, look, she was COVID safe because she did wear a mask. So she didn't.
There was more mask on her than there was bikini, wasn't it?
There was, but the question that I've got to ask, is this has been viewed by 480,000 people in Australia now and around the world, right? So
each and every one of them probably sat back and thought, "There's 30 seconds of my life I won't get back."
Probably, and then watched it again just because and said, "Have you seen this?" and shared it. So the question I've got to ask, right, is, where the hell is the safety in all of this? Because quite frankly, didn't see any tool belt on her or some steel cap boots, and she's in a hardware store, for goodness sake.
Oh, I know, right? So where is her hardware protection?
Where is her protection? Exactly. I'm pretty sure that what she's wearing won't protect her.
No, not from looking stupid, that's for sure. But you're right. Where's the belt? Where's the hardware belt? I mean, really, if you're in a hardware store, put a hardware belt on, play the part.
Exactly. Well, look, it spawned a whole bunch of other things. I mean, apart from other women going into Bunnings to strip down, there's another lady who actually has gone on to taken up the going into Bunnings and TikToking, but she's actually shared a TikTok video of her looking for a husband. So she's holding a sign saying, "Wanted, looking for a husband, can you help?" And she even asked a Bunnings
thing.
Yeah, even asked a Bunnings employee if there was any men left in stock.
Right. And look, this was a thing. This was even a thing in Coles and Woolworths back in the 90s in Sydney. And you had to put a pair of a thing of bananas in your carry basket. And it all depended which way the bananas pointed, if they pointed up or pointed down, depending on which side of the sexual spectrum you swang.
Oh.
So swang even a word. We'll go with it anyway. Swang. Anyway, so this is just the modern equivalent. Women going into Bunnings looking for virile, young, obviously competent tradies.
Yeah.
In the hope that they'll find something masculine and sexy and might be able to fix their plumbing or two.
Now, well, do you really want a tradie, or do you want someone that knows how to cook? Big question. I mean, are you better off doing that in Coles or better off doing that in Bunnings?
That is a very, very big question. Absolutely.
Yes.
So first of all, I'm not after a tradie at all. I'm quite happy with my beautiful wife. Right. So then which industry do you go for?
Yeah, that's right. You can't have it all. Can you have
do you want to find yourself a nice plastic surgeon, not just because they're filthy rich, but that means that they can nip and tuck as things start to droop.
So what, wander around a hospital with a sign saying looking for a doctor? Someone that can treat your COVID for you. There you go.
Right.
Hey.
My father always said just marry a proctologist with small hands for a variety of different reasons. But look, I reckon having a tradie as a husband would be a handy thing. But the problem is, isn't there this thing called the plumber's plumbing or the electrician's electrics?
Yeah, yeah.
Because they do it for a day, like the gardener's garden, they're always shocking back at home.
So following that line of thinking, women, don't marry a gynecologist.
I was just about to say exactly the same thing. That's right. My brother used to pick up women with the line, "Trust me, I'm a gynecologist."
Was he successful?
Oh, he was usually successful, but he was already at the horizontal state, so
right.
He thought he was funny as fuck. But let's just say the next morning and stuff like that, he wasn't always too proud of his efforts.
Speaking of someone who is successful but we don't know why, Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Now, there's an enigma.
It's like, why? Why do you go to a Nicolas Cage movie? There's a movie with Nicolas Cage. Let's watch it. And afterwards you go, why did I watch that? He can't even act.
I think people woke up to him early 2000s, and then he had a big, long period where he wasn't engaged. And now he is, because he's flat broke and people are picking him up, cents in the dollar.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's decided that he can't find a movie, can't find a character for him anymore. So he's starring in a new movie about himself, where he actually, I know the whole. It's almost like that. Remember that Being John Malkovich movie, right? Which was a cool movie, right? It was cool because John Malkovich is cool. Nicolas Cage is trying to do one, and just quite frankly, I just don't think he's gonna.
He's got to be overacting that shit.
I mean, like he's playing himself, overacting himself. Like it's just not going to work, is it?
So if they were going to do a movie about your life, who would you get to play you and even your beautiful partner?
Well, I would say for me, definitely Bruce
Danny
Willis.
DeVito? Or?
No, fuck you.
Bruce Willis.
Danny DeVito. No, Bruce Willis. Tanya. Right. Wow. I was going to say Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah.
Blonde hair.
Yeah,
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
What about you?
A hippie thing going on.
Yeah. Who would play you?
Yeah. Look, for Michelle, it's easy. I'd definitely go with Angelina Lilly. There's both beautiful petite women. They kind of even look a little bit the same. For me, oh wow, I'd definitely go. Particularly the version of him in Magic Mike, Matthew McConaughey for me.
Oh, seriously?
And for all the female listeners listening out there, there's an image that will keep you warm at night.
Okay. I was actually...
I think reality of it, though, maybe Jeff Bridges in the Obadiah Stane version from Tony Stark's movie Iron Man.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, or even a bit
of hair on the top of my head,
or even Sean Connery in his later years.
Oh yes, right. Let's go with that. Actually, that's not a bad turnout. I need to work on my Scottish accent.
Hey, now speaking of movies, we've got some great interviews coming up. I interviewed just before Christmas. I interviewed one of the stars of James Bond. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's the new James Bond movie. And
it's a rock star effort.
It was great. It was a great interview. That'll be coming up later on in the month. And also, we've got an interview coming up with one of the stars of Ghostbusters.
Rock on.
Yeah.
That's big.
That's massive.
And one of the original stars.
One of the original stars, well, yeah. So if you've had a chance to see the new Ghostbusters movie, then we'll be chatting with one of them during the month. So big month coming up, a massive month, and you can keep up with all of the information, everything that we're doing. Head over to our social media pages, official Bad Boys Podcast on Facebook and Instagram.
And, of course, badboysfm.com if you want to catch some of those sultry tunes.
And just a little bit of a gratuitous plug. If you're looking to start your own podcast, I'll get the details for the Bad Boys Podcast Academy on our page. So make sure you head over and, we can show you how to start your own show as well.
If you want to do it, get Shane on board. I'm telling you right now, it'll make it 1,000,000 times easier, and you won't make as many mistakes or waste as much money either.
Exactly. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Take it easy.
Press plus or follow to hear more great episodes from the Bad Boys. Or check us out on our social media at Official Bad Boys Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram.
Bad